Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. I am Imtiaz Arif, your Pakistan Studies teacher. And today we are going to take up the chapter number 7, which is about the economic development of Pakistan. And in this chapter, we are going to take up 3 questions. The first question, which is question number 2, according to the exercise, about the industries of Pakistan. The contents of this question can be found on page 77 to 79 of your book. And the other 2 questions, which are question number 3 and 4, according to the exercise, are about the different sources of energy. These are, in fact, the 2 questions which have been taken from the same topic, and the contents are available on page 79 to 82 of your book. The basic objective of this discussion is to let you know about the importance and the various types of the industries and the various sources of energy. And energy, remember, here we mean electricity. The various channels through which we get the electricity are to be brought into your notice. First, we are going to talk about the question number 2, which is about the importance of the industries. In industries, as we all know, are the major source of increasing our national income. National income is the amount of money which is in the custody of the government, and of course the government gets it from the various channels. Industries, whatever the production in the various industries, they are indigenously consumed as well as they are exported abroad, and with the help of these productions the government get the money which is added to the national income. So the more industries means the more income for the government, because from the production of the various industries, government get a lot of taxes, and of course the other taxes which are acquired from the various daily products. Then the consumption of the agriculture produce as a raw material. Whatever we produce in the agricultural field, that is consumed by the various industries and converted into various products. So the industries are very important for the making good use of the industrial produce. Whatever we are producing in the agricultural field, if the industries are not there, so naturally majority of these productions would be lying useless. For example, the cotton, which is a major production of our agricultural field, that is taken to the industry, where it is given the shape of the various products and then the garments, and which are sold abroad. Then all the industries are a source of employment for the people. A greater number of the industries mean a greater opportunity for the people to have employment there. It is a source of foreign exchange as well. The production of the various industries are exported abroad, and with the help of that export, we get a lot of foreign money which we use for the various imports. It improves our economic status. The economic condition of the country is dependent on the production, and in Pakistan, since we are an agricultural country, so major part of our economic development is based on the agriculture, but of course in the industries also play a very important role. So whatever we produce in the industry, and while we consume it indigenously or sell it abroad, in both these cases our economic condition improves. There are 3 types of the various industries. One are called the cottage industry, the other is the small industry, and then the heavy industry. The cottage industries are the small scale industries which are mostly run within the families. These are the various traditional skills which are taught by generations, from one generation to the other generation. For example, some of the families here in Pakistan, they are very famous for the production of the various handicrafts, or the carpet making, or some other smaller skills which are often present within the family. So these skills are then utilized, and they are given a shape of the industry in which these whatever are produced inside these industries are then exported in most of the cases, or even consumed indigenously. For the cottage industry, you need not to have a proper building. These kind of industry can even be started in the open. and you need to have just a little bit of shelters to avoid the rainy season or the scorching heat of the summer season. And then a lot of staff is not required either. The family members mostly contribute to it. So that is why the cottage industry does not have a proper staff. A lot of machines are not at all utilized in these industries. Most of the work is done with the help of the hands. And similarly, the money is also not excessively needed, because you need not to have money for making the building or giving salaries to the staff or buying the machines. So that is why these are the kind of industry which can be started with just a limited amount of money, without any proper arrangements. In most of cases, they are done inside the houses or in the rented houses, etc. So that's why they are called the cottage industry. Cottage, remember, is other word we normally use for the hut type buildings. So these are the various industries which are working under a rough kind of shelter, or in a hut, or in even open places. They are very important because since they do not require a lot of money, so that is why these kind of industries are spread all over Pakistan, and thousands of people are involved in these industries, and it is a source of earning for these families. These industries include the craft of spinning with the spinning wheel. The thread from the cotton is converted into thread. This is done with the help of an old primitive tool जिसको हम पुराने ज़माने में चरखा कहते थे. In some cases today, wool, etc., and the cotton threads are made with the help of that spinning wheel. Leather goods manufacturing, like the leather jackets and the ladies' vanity bags, and even the handmade shoes, the shawari chappal, etc., they are all made with the help of hand within the families. Leather goods manufacturing industry. Clay utensils, most of the pot makers, they make the various utensils from the clay, and this is the kind of industry which is very famous all over Pakistan, that a number of utensils and toys, etc., are made from the clay. The wood and iron craft, small handicrafts, small souvenirs, and the other gadgets, etc., they are made from either the wood or the iron, and of course that is a source of income for Pakistan. Then the various families, they are often involved in the manufacture of the baskets, or the hats, or even the cans, etc. The car seats are often made. The cans are these very thin twigs of the bamboos, which are used for the even making of the chairs and the baskets, etc. So this is also an important industry. Embroidery, we all know the ladies' embroideries is mostly done within the families in small centers with the help of the hands on the cloth. That is also an important industry. The weaving cotton, woolen garments, as I told you, in Pakistan, a number of families, they are involved in this activity. The hand looms are mostly used for weaving cotton or the woolen thread and given a shape of the fabrics. The metal goods, daggers, knife, etc., on a smaller scale, they are made with the help of the hand. Wazirabad, etc., are very famous for the manufacturing of the knives and cutters, etc. Similarly, the smaller decoration pieces, etc., from the metal are also made in these kind of industries. The sport good industry, Selcor, is famous all over the world for its sports goods production. The sports goods are mostly made inside the smaller houses, and then these products are given to the various larger industries where they are properly painted and then packed and sent abroad. The silver and gold smiths all over our country, they are a best example of these cottage industry. These goldsmiths, ironsmiths, etc., you have seen, they normally work either in the open, especially the ironsmiths, etc., the goldsmiths, they normally work in their shops, in their houses, and they make the various items of jewelry. The stonecraft, the precious stones, they are converted to to given different shape, of course, used in the jewelry again. The clay toys, as I told you, the pot makers, they not only make the utensils but also the clay toys, etc. Then is the small industry. The small industry, where on the limited scale, you need to have a little bit of building for it. Then, of course, apart from the family members, you need to hire a number of laborers, other staff members. Smaller machines are also used. A little bit of money is also needed for running these kind of industries. They are not the cottage industry. These are the kind of industries where comparatively on a larger scale you have to produce certain products. These are also very important because a huge amount of money is not involved, so that is why majority of the Pakistani citizens, they are involved in the various manufacturing products at the smaller level all over the country. Some of the famous small industries are, for example, the dairy farming. If a family, they had a buffalo or a cow and they were producing the milk, and the milk was then converted to butter and cheese and yogurt, etc. So this job can be done at a larger scale. These dairy farms have a number of cows and other animals where the products are then produced and they are sold to the larger shops or the market. The beekeeping is another kind of industry where honey is produced with the help of bees kept inside the houses in the boxes. They are nourished, they are fed, and then the honey produced is provided to the market. Utensil making industry, mostly the aluminium utensils, and in some cases the copper utensils, etc. They are also made in this kind of industry. The fan electric motor making industry, the various small gadgets, the parts of the electric fans and the electric motor, they are also made in the houses in the smaller scale. And these are the smaller industries, especially in Gujranwala and Gujarat, etc. The poultry farming is another small industry where the people, they normally have the hens, the two different kinds of hens. One are the layers and the other are the broilers. The layers are those kinds of hens which only lay the eggs, and the broilers are the kind of hens which are given the feed and they are prepared for eating, which we normally consume. So the poultry farming all over Pakistan is a very productive business, and many families are involved with it. The carpet weaving, since in Pakistan whatever wool is produced, that is of not a very good quality, that cannot be converted into very expensive pullovers or the sweaters, etc. So that is why they are mostly used for the carpet manufacturing. And the carpets made in Pakistan are often the handmade, so that is mainly the reason due to which the carpet weaving industry is also one of these industries where you have these industries even all over Pakistan, within the houses and the small rented houses or the places, the family members and even few laborers, the smaller children, and even in some cases the women, etc. They participate in this carpet weaving. The sports goods manufacturing industry, different parts of the various sports goods like the cricket bat, the handles, the blades, the different parts of the ball, they are made at different places, and then they are brought together, they are assembled in a small industry and then sent to the major industries. The stainless steel cutlery, Wazirabad, etc. again are very famous for this kind of production, where thousands of the families, they are involved in these kind of small industries where they produce these cutlery items and the spoons and the forks, etc. So these are the various small industries which are working in Pakistan. Then is the heavy industry. Heavy industry is the kind of industry for which you need to have a proper building. Then of course the staff is also required in the form of the officers, the subordinate staff, the supervisors, the technicians, the laborers, etc. And they of course are to be paid handsomely. Then the various machines involved in the process are used in the heavy industry. That is why you need to have a lot of money for the establishment of these kind of industries. So these industries fall in the category of the heavy industry. Various examples of the heavy industry in Pakistan, like the sugar industry, the sugar canes are brought to the industry where they are converted into sugar. and consumed and exported as well. Iron steel industry like the Pakistan Steel Mill, Ittifaq Foundry, etc. The other types of the industries which are working in Pakistan, and they produce the iron sheets and the girders and the other iron products which are locally and externally utilized. The petroleum and the petroleum products, petroleum products, they are purified in an industry which are called the refineries. The one industry which is now called the Attakile at Morga near Rawalpindi, that is what we inherited from the British. And after the partition, we established two other refineries in Karachi. That is the National Oil Refinery and the Pakistan Oil Refinery, where the petroleum products are acquired. The petroleum is then purified, and like petrol and diesel and kerosene oil and mobile oil, waxes, etc., are extracted from it. And this is a heavy industry. The automobile industry, where the jeeps, cars, buses, trucks, tractors, etc., are made. Armament industry, the weapon industry. There are a number of places in Pakistan where the very different kinds of weapons, the smaller guns, pistols, etc., they are made. This is called the armament industry. The heavy machinery industry. Some of the industries, they only make the machines which are in turn used in the small industries. Like, for example, the only example we can have, the number of other examples, like the sewing machine, which is made in the heavy industry, and then the sewing machine are brought to a tailoring shop. The tailoring shop, in fact, that is a small industry where a number of people, they work on the machines, and they produce clothes. So these kind of industries, are run with the help of the machine which are made in the heavy industries. Similarly, the buses, tractor industry, as we said, automobile industry, the motorcycle industry also fall in this category. Then the various machinery, TV set, electronic industry, even the mobiles and the computers, etc., they are also made in these kind of industry. Refrigerator, air conditioner industry, tobacco, cigarette industry, Pakistan Tobacco Company near Akola. That is one of the example in our locality. Apart from that, there are a number of other industries, the Lexan Tobacco, etc., who are producing tobacco and related products. Textile industry, Faisalabad is very famous for the textile industries. 506 industrial units are located there, where the different products of the from the cotton, they are made in the form of yarn. Then the weaving mill, which produce different kind of the fabrics, and the fabrics are then brought to the finishing mill, the hosiery units, where the towels and handkerchief, undergarments, etc., are made. And of course, then the majority of these cotton products are then given to the garment factories, where a number of garments are made from these fabrics. The leather and the leather goods, the leather jackets, shoes, vanity bags, etc., they are made in these kinds of industry. Paper and paper products industry, whatever paper we are using, the form of notebooks, books, files, covers, etc., they are all made in these kinds of industry. Cosmetic industry, the various items used by the ladies, the various products, they are also made in the heavy industry. The tires and tube industry, the tire tubes of the cars and the buses, cycles, motorcycles, etc., they are also made with the help of the machines. Then the next topic is the sources of energy. The sources of energy, remember, are the sources with the help of which we produce electricity. Here by energy we mean the electricity. Since Pakistan is facing a shortage of electricity, so that's why a number of channels with the help of which we get electricity, they are very important. These are the various methods of getting electricity. Number one, we have the hydroelectric power stations, the thermal power station, nuclear, solar, wind. These are the various channels with the help of which we get electricity, and of course with the help of which we try to overcome the deficiency which we are facing. The first one is the hydroelectric power stations, where electricity is produced from water. For these kind of stations, you need to have the water reservoirs where the water is stored, and like the dam, Tarbela Dam, Mangla and Warsik Dam, etc. Some of the barrages like the Sakkar, Guddu, Kotli, Chena barrage, etc., where the water is stored, and then while it is released from the spillway. So in that spillway, normally huge turbines are installed, and with the flow of water, these turbines move and they produce electricity, and this kind of electricity is what we call the hydroelectricity. Some of the stations we have, like the Tarbela Dam, which is located on the river Indus, the biggest project for the production of electricity here in Pakistan. The Ghazi Barota project is also one of the source. The Ghazi Barota is in fact the water released from one of the gate of the Tarbela Dam, and at the place which near Miawali, that is called the Ghazi Barota, where this water is again utilized for the production of electricity. So the same water is transformed into electricity production at two places. Mangla Dam on river Jhelum, which is also one of the biggest source of producing hydroelectricity in Pakistan. Warsak Dam on river Kabul, which we inherited from the British before 1947. That is still working there. Apart from that, we have the Chishma Hydroelectric Power Station, Malakand Power Station, Dargai Hydroelectric Power Plant, and Rasool Kadrabad Hydroelectric Station. These are the names of the places where these hydroelectric stations are located, and they produce electricity. And the next part is the thermal electric power stations. Thermal electricity mostly means the electricity produced with the help of the generators. Previously, before 1947, electricity was produced with the help of the coal, and now most of these electricity generators have been converted to petroleum products, mostly the petroleum, in some cases the the natural gas, etc. These projects are located in Karachi, Lahore, Multan, Faisalabad, and a number of other places. Remember, majority of these thermal power stations have been constructed by the foreign companies, and they produce the electricity there. That electricity is then sold to the government of Pakistan, and the government of Pakistan then in turn provide it to the people of Pakistan. The nuclear electric power, nuclear reactor, as you know, is also one of the sources where the electricity can be produced. The controlling authority, which controls all the nuclear activity in Pakistan, is called the Pakistan Atomic Energy Commission, and they are, of course, responsible for whatever activities goes on here in Pakistan in the nuclear field. The two major projects in Pakistan is the one we call the Kanoop, Karachi Nuclear Power Plant, which was established with the help of Canada in 1971, and this unit was giving us an electricity of 137 megawatt only. Then the second nuclear electricity station was established near Miawali, that is Cheshma Nuclear Power Plant, Unit Number 1, Cheshnap. So this Cheshnap is giving us electricity of 300 megawatts. So both these industrial units are also giving us the electricity, but not on a larger scale. So that is why we are heavily dependent on the production of electricity from hydro resources. Solar electric generation, that is also a new concept. The energy acquired from the sun rays with the help of solar panels, that is what we call the solar electricity. Initially, in 1981, this project was launched in Pakistan in a small village called Mamliani near Islamabad, in district Swat, in a place in Islamabad as well. Solar panels now vastly used in different houses, shops all over Pakistan for the obtaining electricity through the sun rays. Then the wind electric power motors, these are the kind of motors which work with the help of fast wind, and most of these motors are installed near the coastal areas because the sea breeze is often very strong on the coastal areas of Pakistan, like the Sindh and the Balochistan coastal area of Pakistan. So most of the wind power stations are located on the coastal area of Pakistan. Natural gas is another source with the help of which we get electricity. According to the Economic Survey of Pakistan, which was conducted in 2011 and 12, the average production of the natural gas in Pakistan is 4,000 million cubic meter. This meets only 40.3% of our energy requirement, and the rest has to be imported from abroad. So that is why Pakistan government has signed a number of agreements with Central Asian states and even Iran, from where we are getting natural gas through the pipelines. The various sites for availability of the natural gas are Sui in Balochistan, from where we are getting natural gas since 1952. Then the southern and the northern Sindh, the Potawar Plateau in Punjab, etc. The average reserves of the natural gas in Pakistan are 29.671 trillion cubic feet. Of course, they look like very huge amount of natural gas reserves, but unfortunately, with the increase in our population, they are not enough for our requirements. Then, in the form of a table, you can see we have given the consumption of the natural gas. Domestically, we are using 23.2% of the natural gas. In the thermal power station, 26.1%. As I told you, in the thermal power station, these generators, they are run with the help of these natural gas, and of course the electricity is produced. For the trading purposes, in the shops, cafes, restaurants, bazaars, only 3% is used. In the various industries, 21.7%. Producing urea, as you all know, this natural gas is also converted into fertilizer, so it takes a part of 19%. The transport is now based on CNG, compressed natural gas in Pakistan, that is 7%, so it accumulates to 100% of the natural gas in Pakistan. Then the petroleum is another source with the help of which we get electricity. Of course, the petroleum products are used in the various generators for the production of the energy. Economic Survey of Pakistan tells us from 2013 to 14, the daily average production of the petroleum production in Pakistan was 66,000 barrels per day. 35% of our national requirement can be met with the available petroleum reserves. The various sites, Potawar Plateau, Lower Sindh, etc. Approximate reserve, the geographical condition of Pakistan are very suitable for vast reserves of the petroleum products in Pakistan. There are more than 90 oil fields from where we are getting these petroleum products, but as I told you, with the increase in the population, even they are not enough, and we have to import a lot from abroad. Coal is the next source with the help of which we will often produced electricity. Nowadays, they are not that majorly used. It is still utilized in small industries like the brick kilns, etc., where the bricks are backed. In domestic purposes, most of our houses, they consume coal for barbecue, etc., the restaurants, the shops, etc. The production of coal in Pakistan per year is 4,000 metric ton. At the various sites where the coal can be found in Balochistan, Potawar, southern Sindh, in Sindh, Tar coal is the largest coal reserve in Pakistan. Approximate reserve are 186 billion tons of coal available here in Pakistan, but as I told you, Pakistani coal, not of much use more in the modern days, because majority of the industrial units have been converted to CNG, the natural gas and the petroleum products. And secondly, the coal found in Pakistan is not of the superior quality, so that is why it is not majorly used in the various industries. The share of the various sources in the production of the electricity is as follows. Petroleum products are used in 35% places for the production of electricity. The natural gas 29%. Coal takes only 0.1% of the place in the electricity production in the modern days. Hydroelectric and nuclear power 35.9%. So that is the whole summary of the electricity production here in Pakistan. And with that, table, we come to the end of our topic. I hope you must have had a bit of understanding of the topic. If there are any queries, any further inquiries, you can contact me through the WhatsApp. Allah Hafiz now.